Absolutely. And I think to take the inclusivity to a next level, one of the first things I noticed when I entered the Discord was you could basically claim your pronoun. And there was the option for female, male, or sort of a non-binary choice. And I thought that was really important because when you have a project like this that is appearing to be all female, we have a lot of male community members. And of course, when you're interacting in this space, it's not always obvious and it doesn't really matter, but it was an easy way for us to show in our profile. They actually, yeah, well, we've changed it a little bit, but it's a logo and it's just got a color assigned to a pronoun. And that way you can identify how you choose. So it takes that inclusivity to another level. Like we are representing a more female side of things. However, we have a lot of male community members, and I think everyone is equally as passionate about it. And it is more than just a bunch of GossApe girls.
It is an interesting thing in this space to want to serve underrepresented groups without tying ourselves to, just pushing women forward in the group. Although, that's a huge thing. Women do need to be, there does need to be more representation in this group, but I think you can say that's true of all underrepresented groups. So yeah, it's got to be inclusivity.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, even as I got to Decentraland, just expanded it even more. And which is why, as you may have noticed, I've been spending a lot of time there. And that, I entered that space completely unknown, and it was basically on a job assignment. And I was one of those people who showed up and probably got dumped into a realm that there was nobody there. I was there to promote it, so I didn't say anything publicly about that experience. But I remember on the side, it was Art Week, and I remember saying to Zay on the side, geez, this is amazing. There's so many creative projects. It's a shame there aren't more people here experiencing this. What I realized on the last day was somebody, I feel like the name was Josh, and I feel like it was an unminted name, but I don't remember. But I was at a sort of a live stream event, and somebody reached out to me because I think he had seen some of the content I was putting out about the week on Twitter. And he said, like, hey, you need to get into Realm DG. That's where everybody is. And I'm like, what? How do I do that? So literally, again, it was just that experience. But I was so fascinated by what I was seeing that even that sort of I don't want to call it a negative experience, but it wasn't necessarily the experience everybody gets. I still wanted more. And then once I got into the other realm and started to see, I was also on a laptop out at a cabin that was not really an older laptop. So I was seeing a lot of green ghost bodies as well. So I couldn't even see how cool everybody looked. I was seeing the invisible people. And anyway, when I got home, and I think actually the pop wall closing party with a live DJ, and I walked in the pink suit because I had no other wearables, so I felt ridiculous showing up to this party where everybody was just so elaborate with their outfits, and I'm in a pink like business suit. And I thought, just own it, you're here, just do what you need to do. And Zay was kind enough to join me that night, and so I had a buddy and started to meet people. And then I think I ended up at True a couple times, and that's where I felt super awkward. It's amazing how in a space like that, you can, if you have a little bit of social anxiety, you can still feel awkward walking into a room full of people who all know each other and they don't know you. And that idea of I'm not comfortable necessarily speaking out and being like, hey guys, I'm here. So you kind of hope someone might say hi. And that's, I think, been the most important part of my experience, was that people said hi and they kept saying hi, and they reached out to me who was not necessarily comfortable in that space. And I've seen now, especially going into festival week, the effort that's been made by the community to grab onto those new people and really make an effort to make sure that they experience the best that they can. And so now I'm sort of, as one of those people who can relate to that situation, I just want to help with that kind of stuff as much as possible now, because it's been helpful for our brand as well to get people familiar with our brand. But it's just it's a bigger thing, is about the whole community. So Yeah.
I have to say, I'm so happy that you came across Josh during well, you said Fashion Week, correct?
No, I was a little later on the scene. It was Art Week in August.
Art Week. I'm happy you met him because I mean definitely I may remember like maybe like perhaps maybe the first time you ever popped in. Like I had seen a name like someone named Aspen, and like I just loved how, you know, from my perspective it's you know, kind of our stories kind of can relate. Like we weren't equipped to come in here. We just like jumped in and we're seeing green people, green walls, lagging and everything. Yet we were still like fascinated. Like there's so much potential here.
Yeah. I was actually just chatting with another GossApe TBB the other day, and she was also very new to the space during Art Week, and we were trying to connect with Zay because we had an installation, and in that we had an exhibit in that space, and she was also very new. And again, I was out of town on a bad laptop, and all we wanted to do was meet together and get a picture in front of the statue. And I'm messaging her on Discord and I'm saying, hey, I'm here. And she's like, well, I'm here. And I'm like, well, I don't see you. Well, I don't see you either. And it was this hours we probably spent. And I just crashed, or oh, I'm lagging. And then all of a sudden I learned about realms and I said, hey, I think we need to get in the same realm. And well, how do I do that? And so I think, well, I think you need to type this in. Like it was just, it's laughable now, but I've heard so many other people now share that same experience that I realize how important, like I said, it is to just reach out and help them because there's so much potential. And I'm having like, it's such a fun space. So you want to make sure that people sort of experience that as quickly as possible.
To that point, tell me about the holders of Gossip Girl. I mean, there's 7,000 of them. They've all been minted, but I know there's not 7,000 of us in Decentraland that are holders. Tell us about your holders and maybe what efforts that we can all do to help onboard them into Decentraland.
For sure. Well, Zay can maybe speak more to some of the, I'm going to say the original holders because I was a little bit newer to the project. And then I have connected a lot with some of just through Decentraland with all of you. So I know I'm very familiar with the holders who have sort of joined us or were part of it. Actually, it's fascinating too, now that we're sort of making more appearances, to see some people come out of the woodworks who I didn't even know were holders, and now they're like, oh hey, or they show up with a GG head on, and I'm like, well, how did you get that? Oh, I've been a holder since minting or whatever. So I can speak to that. Zay, you might have a little bit more to say about some of the original holders and the people who are outside of Decentraland space. And I know we have a lot of creators in our space, and especially now with Decentraland, it's really exciting because I just think of what those people could also help us with in the project as well.
Yep. Just to add a little bit, we actually, yes, our collection is 7,000 Gossip Girl NFTs, but we have, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 3,500 unique holders. And when we first distributed the Decentraland wearables, we actually asked the community to request to basically claim the wearables because we wanted to make it more interactive instead of us airdropping everything to them. And I think we have a total of like around 300 or 400 people claiming the first batch of wearables. And during the Metaverse Fashion Week, that was our first Decentraland event, we actually have a lot of people showed up at the event. I think around like 30 or 50 people. I think that was when people can see that, oh, there's a lot of like Gossip Girl avatar running around at the I think it was one of like the show, if I'm not mistaken, DNG fashion show. So yeah, it was quite a fascinating event. But I think like people are excited during that first event. But I think like what Tang and also like what Aspen mentioned, there's still so many people who are not familiar about like Decentraland. And even when we first did our first event at the Metaverse Fashion Week, we had to create like several sessions, sort of like a tutorial session about like how to get into Decentraland, like what button to press to like walk or like to jump or like to do this, to do that. We even had to host that kind of like a tutorial event to the community. And ever since then, I think like we for the subsequent event, we also see like so many of the community members that says, oh, this is my first time logging into Decentraland, or like maybe like they would say, oh, I'm gonna give it a try tomorrow to log in and use my first like GG avatar, things like that. So I think like the education and the awareness is still I think like the community is still like interested to learn more, but I think like a lot of people are confused about like where to start.
Yes, I definitely I have to say I love how you have put together these events as a team to kind of educate people on how to get into the metaverse, because when it comes down to it, education has to be like the number one barrier to entry. The education needs to be there in order for people to kind of feel more comfortable jumping in. And I wanted to kind of give some praises to Aspen. Aspen had mentioned that like kind of how she's noticing community members that from within Decentraland that have had GossApe girls, or even new members from Decentraland purchasing their GossApe girls. One thing I have to tell you, Aspen, you like as far as like from let's say from a project standpoint, you have done very well, because like this is just me speaking from my my point of view. I see you as the GossApe Girl ambassador to Decentraland, or not, could even be bigger to the metaverse. So I feel like your presence is like very, very like powerful when it comes to like, you know, representing the GossApe Girl brand, and you do it very, very well. Oh, sorry,
Well,
I was rambling.
No, that's fine. Thank you. I gives me a minute to collect my thoughts, because I'm sitting here like, wow, okay. So no, thank you for that, especially. And I, you know, I have to extend that to the GossApe Girl team, because for me, a lot of this has been a big experiment for me. I've always been very, like I said, I have a marketing and communications background, but I work in a very structured job. My full-time job is a very structured job. I've really maxed out my ability to be creative there within that space. And so I took that out to sort of a Web2 social media approach in the past, where I was always experimenting sort of on a personal side with what could be done, always just fascinated with what could be done with social media and building communities and things like that. So when I entered this space, again, it was just another experiment that I could see like what can be done. And now this kind of sounds bad, but I'm also was doing it through a character who I could take it even further and maybe make her a little bit more exciting than my real life, or a little bit more playful, or just, you know, make her a little bit more engaging than who I saw myself as. So, but I have to extend what's been able to be done to the team, because they've also given me the freedom and the trust to play around and experiment with some of these things. And it's not in an experimental way that's bad. I'm still myself, but it's just the idea of like when well, let's see what we can do with imagery and what we can do with videos, and it's all just been an exploration of my own sort of creative ideas, and also trying to find a place, because I don't know how to make wearables, and I don't know how to build on land, and I don't have any of those skills. So it's been sort of well, what can I do to grow and contribute to this space? And the team has been behind me the whole way. And every time, do you guys mind if I do this? Can I try this? Yep, try it. They've really given me the freedom and the trust to take it and kind of run with it. And it's been, I have to say, rewarding to see what's come of it for myself. And it's given me a lot of confidence. And that also goes back to the community again, who have been so welcoming and not competitive. Everybody is so helpful, and they want to help others grow and brainstorm and share ideas. And so that's also just been it's just fueled my creativity. I mean, Zay's constantly asking me if I'm getting enough sleep because I think she knows that I'm just kind of like busy, but I can't help it. And with other community members as well, I just want to say again that there's a lot of respect in our community for the founders and the team, and they are very respectful people, and they are caring people. And I've just noticed how they will put their community members ahead of, Zay's the first person to ask me, how are you doing today? How are you getting enough sleep? Oh, you're sick? Well, don't worry about getting that out today. Let's just concentrate on getting better. So there's that real human element where I feel very connected to the people in the project, and the team is very present within our Discord. So it's not just about the brand. There really is that feeling of the team is in with their community, and we are like a family.
That's amazing. I just bought 2 more, so I'm really so I'm really excited about getting to know you all more. One of the things that I've seen you guys talking about more and more lately is digital fashion. Tell me a little bit more about what GossApe Girls is doing for digital fashion.
Zay, this one's for you for sure.
Yep. So maybe I'll just take a step back first, and I think like I would like to share a little bit about like the concept of like GossApe Girl. So I think like being like a trader in the NFT space, and it was like late of last year, like August of last year. It was very like apparent that most of the community members, founders, and also like the NFT projects, like the characters are all like very like male centric, and that was actually what sparked the idea of creating a female PFP project, which is like a GossApe Girl. That was the initial like idea of why we wanted to create something different, because we wanted to attract more female and more people to learn more about NFT in general. And we think the best way to do that is actually if we pick sort of like if we pick like something that actually can allow female to relate to like the NFT space. So that was actually why we think let's create an NFT project that is fashionable, because like that was sort of like a way for us to attract more female to learn more about the space. So when we created like the whole collection, we actually created 300 like unique traits for GossApe Girl, and most of them are all related to like fashion. I think we had a lot of like headwear selections and also like clothing selections, and so yeah, that was actually the whole concept of like why we put a lot of emphasis to fashion, because like we think that would be like the best way to attract more female, and also like to bring in more diversity and inclusion to the space. And it has been like in our roadmap as well, because we believe that in order for the project to be sustainable and also to ensure the longevity of the project, we need to grow GossApe Girl as a brand. And when we mention brand, that actually means not only like Web3 brand. Brand actually is something that have to transcend Web3 and Web2 as well. It has to be part of like people's lifestyle, and it has to be like sort of like a household term. So actually, like in terms of like fashion, we are looking into collaboration with Web2 brands, because like we think, of course, like that would bring more awareness to like our brand. And at the same time, we also are exploring like digital fashion as well. And some of like our exploration for digital fashion is actually creating like the wearables. That was our first like foray into like digital fashion. And it has been like quite interesting, because like when we first created like the wearables, we actually wanted to match the clothing to our NFTs fashion as well. So if you see like some of like the wearables that we've created, the pink suit and also like all other things, they're actually like matches perfectly with like the GossApe Girl suit as well. So yeah, that was actually like our first sort of like experiment to digital fashion. We are also exploring other things right now, such as like NFT 2.0. Like I think this is still very much like in an early phase. We're exploring a way of like so that people can customize like their NFT looks. Because like of course, like just like regular people, you don't you actually want to change your looks like from time to time. Like if we think of like Gossip Girl NFT as your digital like identity, then like you should be able to change the looks of your digital identity as well, sort of like the clothings and all that. So that is one thing that we are exploring right now, still in an early phase. But yeah, that is what we're looking into, sort of like updating in the future.
What other
ahead, Jen.
Thanks. What other utilities can I expect as a holder?
As of right now, that is so one thing that we are exploring is like the that digital like fashion, and we are also like in the process of creating like the next collection. And the next collection is actually of course will only be available for like the Gossip Girl holders. And all the other things that we are planning right now is also included in the Atlas section of our website. So yeah, I think a lot of like explorations, a lot of like sort of like experiments, I would say.
Nice. And I would just like to reiterate again what Sinful said. That is a really good looking website. It's fun to explore.
Yeah, thank you
really
very
is.
much.
And I would just like to take a quick moment to reset the room. Everyone, make sure to like and retweet. Tell all your friends about us. Also, we are around like the 15-minute mark, so I would like to invite anyone that is listening that has any questions that would like to, come up and ask. You're more than welcome to. And while we wait for anyone that may come up, maybe I can ask you a question about oh, never mind. I see Scott coming up. Oh man, I met Scott in Miami. He is the one of the warmest human beings I have ever met. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Simple. It was, I can't even say how just pleased I was to meet you. And I'm glad that my pleading worked and that you came and you showed up. I mean, you were totally invaluable being there in Miami, and especially getting people to talk directly to Foundation through the Twitter Spaces on Wednesday. So thank you again for that. My question is, I just recently purchased a Woody, and they are I think at date, the largest linked wearable project in Decentraland. They've got like 10,000 unique 3D skins to wear. And I know that you have a couple of GossApe Girl, I can't remember if they're helmets or what slot they fit in. But I think I talked to Aspen about it. Like there's a couple different versions, but have you considered going the linked wearable route? Or if you had just like a default GossApe Girl, I know that like there are ways to change the color of the fur, like using the hair color, and then you could like have other accessories so that somebody could maybe construct their own. I don't know which would be the least expensive route to go, but Zay, you were talking about empowering people to modify. And I know that in Decentraland, there are all the different slots, not just for accessories like glasses, but there's also, hair and facial hair and whatnot. So yeah, I was just wondering if you have anything on the roadmap for the 3D versions of the GossApe Girls.
Hey Scott, thanks for your question. Yeah, I think that's actually a very good idea. We've discussed with Gigi briefly about like linking wearables as well. And that is something that is already part of like our consideration, because like I think like for now the way we send like wearables to the holders are not very efficient as well, because like we do that like quite manually. So we are actually looking into like linking it right now. And yeah, I think like maybe you can expect to have like that kind of like update in the future. However, I think like Gigi mentioned that it's actually based on like community votes or something. So I think that's part of like our consideration as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, go ahead, no, you go ahead, Scott. Go.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, there's a VP or voting power threshold that you have to reach. And from what I understand from Mitchie, if he's out in the audience, currently there is no cost trying to entice communities like GossApe Girls to come to Decentraland. There is no cost to get that. It's purely the VP. So if you have the community support, then it's just a matter of building it, right? Development and creation.
Well, this is kind of what I was going to say too, is that, I've seen proposals from people coming in that want to have linked wearables, and I've never even heard of these NFTs before. But I don't think GossApe Girls will have much of a problem. I mean, you're such a member of the community already.
I see. Yeah, good to hear that. That was actually like one of our concern. But yeah, I think we are already like considering that as well.
I think you're doing everything right. I'll often talk to brands, or I'll get interviewed, and they're saying, what can brands do to have better visibility in the metaverse, or to, quote unquote, guarantee success in the metaverse. And the thing that I'm always telling them is to access the community and to support the community, talk to creators, talk to influencers, talk to the community members, and find out what they're doing and what they want, and just be a part of the community. I think one of the things I said recently was, don't be a one-night stand, commit to a relationship. So be consistent and come in. And that's exactly what you guys are doing as a project and a brand. So you're doing it all right.
Yeah, I think I've that's exactly what I've experienced. And I think I can't speak for Zay, but for me, it's possibly caught us a little off guard with how the community members have embraced our project and been so interested and willing to build the relationships. And I think as we get to build our relationship with all of you as friends, I'm going to say it because that's what it is, but I've seen how willing everyone is to help, and I've had people reach out to me and say, here's how you do a video, or here's how you use this, or yeah, I'll spend AJ 3 hours on the phone with you like struggling along to try to get to, and that was all just trying to help grow. Again, it's just the bigger picture. So I think as we've connected with the DCL community more and more, it will allow us to explore more ideas. And again, with some of you joining into our community as Gossip Girls, we now can hopefully play on some of your skills to help us grow as well.
Amazing. We all get what we give, and Gossip Girls has come into this community with an open heart and wanting to start relationships with us. So of course we're going to do the same things to them as well. If there are no more questions from the viewers here, the listeners here, I just wanted to finish off with one last question, and that is, where do you think the Web3 space is heading now?
Do you want to go first?
That's a very interesting question, and I think everyone here would love to know where it's going now. I think it's definitely not an easy time in the Web3 space, and I think I guess it's both Web3 space and also the general macroeconomics. It's not an easy time. It's not doing really well at the moment. But I think in terms of the NFT space, we've seen the NFT space where back in the days where people have to grind for whitelist, and then where people just do hype marketing and all that. I think that time, that NFT age is already over. I think the next NFT sort of cycle, it will be very much different. It will be very much depending on the community, also how we can empower the community, and also listen to the community, and also how project can give their community something of a value, for example what are the utility, and also what do the members get out of being part of the community. I think that's one of the important thing that is would be the future of the NFT space. In terms of the Web3 space, I think there are still so many things that can be improved and also can be learned. If someone claim themselves to be an expert in Web3, I don't think it's I don't think that's true. There's still so many things that can be explored, and there's still a lot of room for other people to join as well. So I think there are still a lot of exciting things to come in the Web3 space.
For me, I see it also, even just simplifying it down to the metaverse. As I mentioned, there's not a lot of people in my physical world who are in this the way I am, so I don't have a lot of people to talk to about it. And as I get more understanding myself, and I feel more confident talking about it, I can share with them and try to help educate them a little bit. But as I've begun to do that, what I've noticed is that some of my friends with children and things like that, they said, oh, that's like Fortnite, or oh, that's like Roadblock. Their kids are in there. Their kids are communicating with their friends that way. Their kids are interacting. That is normal for them. And as those people grow older, this is what they're going to end up doing, is the same way that we're doing in a more adult space. This is normal to them. So they don't think it's weird. And it's the same way when we all started to learn social media, and we, at first, some people, well, I'm not sharing my life on there, and our parents might have been like, what the heck are you doing, putting it all out there? For a lot of us, it became normal. And I see this as an extension of that, because that younger generation is already doing this, and it's part of what they do.
Can you imagine how developed the metaverse, like as a whole, will be once that generation starts coming into the space, and how much they will develop upon those building blocks?
Yeah,
Can't wait.
that's
Yes,
exactly it.
exactly.
And they're going to be so much better at it than us.
Yeah.
But
I
we'll
think,
have the
like-
experience. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think some of them would be like a real like Web3 native. They would grow up like knowing that there's no other world that doesn't have like that, where Web3 doesn't exist,
Yeah, they'll definitely push it forward. Though there's definitely going to be that one young like crypto billionaire. I just don't know if he's born yet.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so I see that we have reached our 1 hour mark. I think it might be a good time to close it down. This has been an amazing space, and I want to thank Aspen and Zay for being here, as well as everyone that's listening. Really appreciate you guys here. I see a lot of GossApe girls in the crowd, and I think my PFP may have switched to a GossApe here, maybe. I hope. Love you all. And any final thoughts, Zay and then Aspen?
No, I think like you guys hit all the like good points. I would just like to say thank you to Thank Poco and also Sinful for having us. And I think like in general, like really thankful for all the support and all the help that you guys have like given to us. I think we the whole team really appreciates it.
Yeah, and I'll just echo on that. Thank you both for having us today. It's been really fun. And as I look through the room, I just see so many faces, and thank each and every one of you from my personal experience as well, because you're the reason that I have stuck here, and I am having so much fun, and just meeting all of you and learning from you has just sparked a creativity in me personally that I thought was possibly dead. So it's just made it really exciting, and I almost get emotional when I see some of the people in the room today, and knowing how they've contributed to this whole experience for me, and I just really truly appreciate it.
Thank you. And real quick, I did see on your website that you have weekly Twitter spaces. What day and time are those?
We used to do that, Sinful, like when I think it was for the first like several months, we used to do that. However, we started, ever since we started like the Gossip Girl Digest, we actually like we're thinking to move like all the announcements to Gossip Girl Digest, because like we just thought it's easier, so that like people don't have to like always like tune in to like Twitter Spaces, and also because some issues with like time zones as well. We are still in the process of doing that. I think like we've tried to move some of the important announcement to Gossip Girl Digest already. So we think it's just a more friendlier way to do announcements. But yeah, I think like we will still do like Twitter Spaces as well on a event on an event basis. But yeah, not on a weekly basis anymore for now.
Definitely a very good, very good approach to it, and that a good way to like actually keep the information, ongoing, and it'll stay there for a while because the Twitter Spaces will delete eventually after a certain amount of time. And I'm trying to get over here. By any chance, Tang, could you take that link and pin it to the top? That link I just sent you, and pin it to the top, and maybe drop it in the comment at the bottom.
Okay. Scott told me how to do this last week. I got this. Don't worry, I got this. It's good practice. This is like the big exam right now.
Okay, well, maybe there's an extra step here. Since I sent it to you on Discord, you have to make a tweet.
This.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I gotta make a tweet too? Oh my god.
You see, you were already shutting me down.
No, I got this. Okay. It's not gonna be a great tweet.
I mean,
but it is gonna be pinned. Bear with me. Talk. There's too much pressure. Talk. Say something.
Bearing with you. I will help you, and I will pin the link to the bottom. While we're doing our pinning, I was curious about the GossApe Girl Emporium. And I see that it's like kind of like a reward system for NFT holders who redeem digital. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, this is also part of like the community members' feedback as well. Some of them are asking us like, hey, is there any perks for holding? Like I've been holding for like this long or that long. And that actually sparked the idea of like sort of creating like a Web2 rewards system, so that people can claim like perks and benefits as part of like the Gossip Girl community member. And that is what we are working on right now. So what we have in mind is that like people who have been with us for a long time, they can claim like perks such as like, for example, like free merchandise, or for example like an exclusive like wearables, like maybe like a super like a rare one, things like that. That's the idea of the Gossip Girl Emporium.
Oh, that's so cool, because like there's so many people that jump into NFT discords and they're like, is this project dead? Because like they don't really like, they're not being rewarded or incentivized in any way, shape, or form to hold their NFT. So I think that's a very, very good approach. I have to say, I'm very happy with my GossApe Girl purchase today.
And I will add, every time someone jumps into Discord and says, where's the team? Zay or one of the other team members usually responds very quickly, hey, we're right here. So they're very active in there all the time, interacting with the community. So there are those people that just like to drop in and say those kind of things. And the team's always quite quick at being, we're right here. You can't start that here. We're right here. So
I'm so happy that you joined us this week. This has been a very good start to the week, and I see that Tang has pinned the tweet at the top, and I dropped it in the little comment bubble in the bottom. So if anyone wants to stay updated with what's going on with GossApe Girl, the digest would be a good source. And just pass it on to Tang Poco. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Zay. Thank you, Aspen, for being here, and thank you, everybody, not just for being here today, but also for coming out and supporting us a few nights for the Miami Art Week live dollhouse activation that we did. It was night after night of parties. Thank you all so much for coming out. Super successful. I had a really good time. I think everybody else had a good time. Miami loved seeing us. Bip Basil was happy. Shout out to Astrid, NFT Creator Tours, for helping us, making it all happen. Majestic, all the DJs that came out. Thank you so much again. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got Beyond the NFT, where we will all be drilling Sinful for his minute-by-minute experience at Miami Art Week. Metaverse Miami. And I also just want to say that this week we're taking a break from WAGMI Wednesday. We're going to cancel that, so make sure you come out and join us on the 14th. And that is it. Bye, everybody. Have a great Sunday.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Love you all. Let's see who we're rating next.